Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session of today event. My name is Tika, and I will be your moderator for this session titled Trade-off between Electrification and Climate Change, Mitigation and Analysis of the Java-Bali Power System in Indonesia. Now we have three speakers, Mbak Aisyah, Mas Septian, and Mas Evan, who will be sharing their expertise on this important subject. The format of this session will be a presentation followed by a question and answer. Now, let's begin. Let's begin by welcoming Mbak Aisyah, Mas Septian, and Evan.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Tika, for the introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to thank you for Miss Priyanto and Mr. Shukran, who already helped us to prepare this presentation. Okay, we are from Group 2, and we will present about our lead project titled Trade-off between Electrification and Climate Change Mitigation, an analysis of the Java-Bali power system in Indonesia. Okay, this is the outline. So start with the introduction. We will introduce the areas that we use as case studies, which are Java and Bali, and then scenario, next framework leap model, and then the energy demand and supply, and then policy and regulation, and the last conclusion. Okay, we start introduction about Java and Bali. So Java and Bali are the center of economic, industrial, and population activities in Indonesia. And the demand of electricity for this region is very high. The Java Bali power system supplies around 74% of the nation's total electricity consumption. For the Java, Java is the economic center, so relies mostly on coal power plants for its energy, but the government is also working to increase the renewable energy like solar, wind, and geothermal. And then for Bali, who doesn't know about Bali? Bali is the popular tourist destination, and Bali has growing energy needs, especially for tourism. To support sustainable tourism, Bali is developing energy projects like solar panel and electrical vehicle. Thanks. As we can see, this is the electricity demand for Java and Bali from 2018 to 2023. The electricity demand in Java and Bali, we can see the consistent upward trends. And then the more significant growth after 2022, because in 2022, we experienced the COVID. And then the uptrend, this uptrend reflecting increasing in energy needs in line with economic and population growth. And because of in Java and Bali, the main of the energy resource is coal. So the fossil fuel-based electricity production is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emission. And approximately 25% of global emission come from the electricity and heat production sector. And in 2015, Paris Agreement, every country attempts this 2015 Paris Agreement. Every country, they cite to reducing the greenhouse gases or greenhouse emission, which primarily target the energy sector due to its large contribution to global emission. And this project, we use the scenario to compare the different approaches to energy policy and their impact on CO2 emission reduction. The first scenario is reference scenario. So Indonesian energy policy is projected to continue as it currently is, without significant changes to the energy mix. And then the second scenario is renewable energy scenario, which is we try to increasing the renewable energy such as geothermal, hydro, and wind, and then solar power. Based on the RUPTL reference, we try to increase 2% in every year, and we try to reduction in conventional power plants.
Okay, thank you. I will be present next. The framework in LIP model that we are using is highlighted in yellow color. Many module or many features that LIP have that we can use the specific of features that on the framework, like the population and policy regulation to analyze the energy demands. This to calculate the demand of the area in Java and Bali. Next is electricity and non-electricity. We use the electricity because this not only calculated electricity demand, but also non-electricity like storage and resource. But in our LIP model, we only use the electricity. Next is electricity transformation analysis. This to transform from demand to transformation data like cost, capacity, and power plants. But we only use the power plants module to calculate the futures of power plants that using on Java and Bali area. Power plants that we use is PLTU, PLTP, PLTS, and PLTA. This about the electricity energy supply model is about the resource of production data for electricity fuel, like the import export of fuel, but we didn't use it in our model. And the output is carbon dioxide emission analysis. Features in LIP not only can predict the carbon dioxide, but also other emission like methane and particulate. But in our case, is only specific to CO carbon dioxide emission. Next, policy and regulation by Mas Satya.
Okay, thanks, Mas Evan. I will continue presentation about policy and regulation. Presidential Regulation number 61 of 2011 concerning the National Action Plan for Greenhouse Gas Emission Reduction is an Indonesian government policy aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emission in line with the commitment made at the United Nations Climate Change Conference. In Copenhagen in 2009, at that time, Indonesia pledged to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 26% through its own efforts, or up to 41% with international assistance by 2020. The main contents of Presidential Regulation number 61 of 2011 include number 1, National Action Plan. This document outlines strategic steps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across various sectors, such as forestry, energy, transportation, waste, and agriculture. Each sector has specific targets and strategies. Number 2, obligations of regional governments. Regional governments are required to prepare regional action plans tailored to the condition of each region. These RAD must be integrated into the regional development plans. Number 3, implementation and supervision. Every relevant ministry or agency is required to report the implementation and achievement of the RANGRC regularly. There is also monitoring to ensure that emission reduction targets are met. Number 4, funding. The reduction of greenhouse gas emission is funded through the government's budget and can be supported by international funding. This presidential regulation serves as the foundation for Indonesia efforts in climate change mitigation and supports more sustainability development. The Paris Agreement is a historical milestone of the start of a new paradigm in addressing climate change issues that have been an object of international concern for the last 20 to 13 years. After the Earth Summit in 92 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil agreed upon the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and Kyoto Protocol to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in 97. In 2015, when COP to the was held in Paris, France, and a monumental global agreement was reached. The Paris Agreement, which was proposed to keeping a global temperature rise of this century well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. In Indonesia, national statement, Presiden Joko Widodo stated that the Paris Agreement must reflect on equally be fair and take into account national priorities and capabilities. So it must be legally binding, durable, ambitious, but shall not have to the development of the developing countries. Then on 22 April 16, during the high-level signature ceremony for the Paris Agreement in UN headquarters, New York, United States of America, there were 175 countries, including Indonesia, signing the Paris Agreement, realizing the role of the environment in promoting better life for citizens. In according with the principle of the 1945 Constitution, Indonesia ratified the Paris Agreement. The Parliament also gave its support on 19 October 16 by agreeing to endorse the draft bill on the Paris Agreement. The law number 16 of 2016 on ratification of the Paris Agreement to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was later issued on 24 October 2016. The agreement entered into force on 4 November 2016. 13 days after the date on which at least 55 parties to the convention, accounting in total for at least an estimate 55% of the total global greenhouse gas emission, have deposited their instruments or of ratification, acceptance, approval, or acquisition with the depository and their nationally determined contribution. Based on the agreement, each country must contribute to the efforts to reduce global greenhouse gas emission, wherein their own target must be set forth in the NDC for the period 20 until 30. In the enhanced NDC, measures to reduce emission in Indonesia are focused on 5 sectors: energy, industry, forestry, agriculture, and was by which the forestry sector takes the large contribution. The sector accounts for 17.4% of the 31.89% unconditional target and 25.4% of the 43.20% conditional target. Next.
Okay, we can see here the energy demand forecasting to 2034 with assuming growth 5%. As we can see, the electricity demand is increased every year from 2023 to 2034. And then in 2023, the demand around the electricity demand is around 350,000 gigawatt hour, and in 2030 it's about 500,000 gigawatt hour. And this upward trend, we can see that growing electricity demand reflects the impact of economic growth and industrial needs. And then the population increase in the future.
This slide display a graph about power output from different scenario that run on our model. This chart compares to scenario, renewable scenario, and scenario reference from 2023 to 2034. Measured in 1,000 gigawatt hour of energy output, and is the breakdown in 2023 until 2024. The scenario start at around 1,000 gigawatt in 2023, but the scenario reference that showed on blue line show a steeper increase, surpassing the 130,000 gigawatt hour by 2024. Meanwhile, this renewable scenario in yellow line rise more slowly, reaching over 120,000 gigawatt hour by 2024. And in the 20 and 30 until 20 and 34, the renewable scenario continues to grow, closing the gap with the scenario reference by 2034. The renewable scenario almost reached the output level of the reference scenario, nearing the 140,000 gigawatt hour. Meanwhile, the scenario reference remains relatively stable, slightly decreasing after its peak on the 2026. In summary, when the reference scenario starts strong and peaks early, the renewable scenario show a more gradual, consistent increase, and suggesting a long-term growth in renewable energy output. The next is about the generated power from different scenario. This display present of a comparison of energy mix generated from different scenario, represent in two set of pie chart in the display. The analysis focus on for energy source like PLTA for hydropower, PLTU for coal, PLTS for solar power, and PLTP for geothermal. And on the left section, in left top in the top pie chart, shows a scenario where PLTU dominates the energy generation, contributing 94.2% of the total, and PLTA contributing 4.8% with almost negligible share from PLTS and PLTP. The bottom pie chart indicates that slightly more diversified energy mix in this scenario. PLTU share dropped significantly, 74.2%, while PLTA remains consistent. And the right section on the top pie chart mirrors the first pie chart in the section 1, but the bottom pie chart in this section is present factor reduction in PLTU contribution until 62.5%, and PLTS increased its share to 18.4%, while PLTA contributes 13.1%, and PLTP holds steady at 6.1%. And this slide is demonstrate the transition from a coal-dominated energy system in both scenarios toward a more balanced and renewable focus at the bottom of each section. The gradual increase of PLTS and PLTA is highly effort to shift towards to cleaner energy source. This slide display two graphical information about the emission comparison from different scenario. The chart on left is illustrate the gigawatt peak measured in million metric tons of CO2 equivalent from 2023 until 2034. The scenario reference start higher than the renewable scenario in 2023 and peaks around 2,000 million tons by 2025. After this emission gradually decline but remain higher than the renewable scenario through 2034. And the chart on the right is provide a snapshot comparison of emission on the first year and end years in 2034. In 2023, both scenario emit nearly the same amount of the greenhouse gases. Is because the data is the same and that the emission is slightly above 6,000 million tons. But in the 2034, emissions in the renewable scenario is drop significantly, falling below 4,000 million tons, while the scenario reference remains higher in 5,000 million tons. Nah, while both scenario have comparable emission in 23, but the renewable scenario shows a steady decrease in greenhouse gas emission over the years, whereas the reference scenario experience slower decline. This indicates that transitioning to renewable energy source can slightly significantly reduce long-term emission and contribute to mitigating climate change.
Okay, next conclusion. Number one, reference scenario, energy consumption projection. In the reference scenario, energy consumption is projected to increase significantly along with population growth. The economy and industrialization on the island of Java and Bali, the dominant energy source still comes from fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas. B, carbon emission. Carbon emissions increasing exponentially with the energy sector, electricity and transportation being the main contributor. Without policy intervention, carbon emission from coal-based power plants will continue the increase. C, environmental impact. This increase in emission has the potential to worsen air quality, increase the risk of climate change, and accelerate environmental damage on Java Bali Island, especially in terms of deforestation and land degradation. Number two, renewable energy scenario. A, project energy consumption. In this scenario, there is increased use of renewable energy such as solar power, wind, and bioenergy. Implementation of energy efficiency policies also reduce total energy demand in sectors such as transportation and industry. B, reduction of carbon emission. Carbon emissions can be reduced significantly with the use of clean energy technology and the transition to renewable energy. Programs such as replacing coal-fired power plants with renewable energy and electrifying transportation have made a major contribution to reducing emission. C, economy sustainability. Implementing the new and renewable energy scenario allows economic growth to continue with less negative impacts on the environment. Renewable energy is a sector that drives green growth, creates new jobs, and increases investment in environmentally friendly technology. Okay, in inclusion, I hope this presentation has provided useful information and a clearer understanding of the topic. Thank you for your time and attention. I am open to any question or comments you may have. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Aisyah, Septian, and Evan for your insightful presentation. Now we will open the floor for 3 questions from the audience. Please ask your question. Okay, Miss Anggi.
Thank you for your opportunity. I would like to ask Mbak Aisyah Groups, why did you choose Java and Bali instead of other islands as case study for your project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anggi. Ms. Aisyah, please answer.
Okay, thank you for the question. There are several reasons why we choose Java and Bali as our case study. First, because Java and Bali are economic center activity in Indonesia. And then second, Java and Bali are the largest population in Indonesia. So the demand of the electricity is very high. So we choose Java and Bali. It's very relevant to analyze deeper about energy policy and climate change.
Okay, well, thank you, Mbak Aisyah. Very complete answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anggi and Ms. Aisyah. Any other question? Okay, if there are no question from the audience, I will ask some question. Why do you only use 4 type of generation in your simulation? Thank you.
Okay, let me try to answer that. We only use the 4 type of the generation electricity is because in the RUPTL that that 4 is major generative technology that often used in area of Java and Bali, and the others is not significantly increase or decrease because the potential of energy in Java and Bali is limited to the other 4 that we choose to expand in this scenario.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Evans. Any other question? Okay, if there is no other question, thank you to everyone who participate in this discussion, and special thanks again to our speaker, Aisyah, Evan, and Septian. Okay, we hope the information shared was helpful and will inspire further discussion on the important topic of electrification and climate change mitigation. Thank you, everyone.